Just as I thought I would suffocate from the noble's stares, the crowd parted again. This time it wasn't for royalty, it was for celebrity. A group of 4 entered the ballroom. They wore formal clothes, but they wore them like armor. They moved with the predator confidence of people who killed dragons for a living. It was Elara's adventure party, her real family. Leading them was Lyra, the healer, a woman with golden eyes and a gaze that judged everyone in the room as unclean. Next to her was Vesper, the rogue. She moved silently in a silk dress that definitely concealed daggers. Behind them loomed Thorn, the tank, a mountain of a man in a tuxedo that looked ready to burst from his muscles. He didn't speak. He just glared. And finally, the centerpiece, Kaelen, the warrior. I looked at him and almost applauded. He was perfect. He was the archetypal hero. Tall, ruggedly handsome, with a dashing scar on his cheek and a jawline you could crack walnuts on. He looked at Elara with the eyes of a lost puppy. Target number 1, I thought. The cliché hero. Lyra and Vesper reached us first. They ignored me completely. I was just an obstacle to them. "Elara," Lyra exclaimed, reaching out. "Thank the gods. You look exhausted. Come, get away from this atmosphere." She glanced at me with sneering disgust. "We have a private table on the balcony. Kaelen has been dying to show you his new medal." Vesper stepped in, physically trying to wedge herself between Elara and me. "Yes, leave the Lord to his drink. You need real conversation." It was a rescue mission. They were trying to extract the hostage. I relaxed my arm immediately. "Yes, take her," I said, please, stepping back. "Please, go with your friends, Lady Everhart. You deserve to celebrate with your team." I looked at Kaelen. He was standing a few feet away, clutching a glass of punch, looking at Elara like she was the sun and he was a moth. I leaned closer to Elara, whispering urgently in her ear. "Look at him," I murmured, acting like a salesman. "Kaelen, he's a hero of the realm, strong, loyal, handsome, and clearly he is madly in love with you." Elara didn't move. She didn't let go of my arm. Her grip actually tightened, digging into my bicep. "I can see that," she replied coldly. "He is a great match," I continued, desperate. "Think about the bloodline. Powerful warrior plus powerful mage. Your children would be... The public would love it. It makes sense, Elara. Mathematically." She turned her head slowly. Her violet eyes bored into mine. "Are you trying to sell me off, Aric?" "I am trying to improve your life," I hissed. "Why cling to a manaless failure like me when you could have Captain Aethelgard over there?"
She looked at Kaelen. Kaelen waved awkwardly, spilling a bit of his punch. Elara turned back to me. Her expression was flat. "I am not interested." I blinked. "What? Look at the jawline. Look at the muscles." "He is simple," she stated, as if discussing a dull book. "He is brave, yes, but he requires me to think for him. If I married him, I would be marrying a golden retriever. I require an equal, Lord Valorian, not a fan." "An equal?" I whispered, frustrated. "I am a Gnaul. I am infinitely less than him." "You are annoying," she corrected, "but at least you are not boring." She turned to Lyra and Vesper. "I will stay with my husband," she announced loudly, her voice silencing the group. "We are enjoying the evening. Perhaps later." It was a dismissal, brutal and efficient. Lyra looked shocked. Kaelen looked like someone had kicked his dog. Vesper glared at me as if I had cast a mind control spell on Elara. They retreated, defeated by the Ice Queen. I watched them go, stunned. "Wow," I muttered, "the hero of the realm, rejected in 10 seconds." "Do not insult my intelligence by proposing him again," Elara warned, pulling me back toward the center of the room. "Fine," I grumbled. "Plan C it is." "What?" "Nothing," I said, straightening my tie. "Just wondering why the men in this kingdom are so incompetent at seduction." Then the trumpets sounded. The room went silent. The crowd parted down the middle. It was time for the main event, Prince Valerius. He was walking toward us, and unlike Kaelen, he wasn't a puppy. He was a wolf in gold armor. Okay, I thought, steeling myself. The hero failed. Let's see if the prince can do better.
The music stopped. The chatter died down. Prince Valerius stepped onto the dais in the center of the room. He raised a glass of wine, the crystal catching the magical light of the chandeliers. He was handsome in that terrifying, polished way that royals are. He didn't look like a person. He looked like a statue made of gold and ego. "My lords, my ladies," Valerius spoke. His voice was projected by a subtle wind spell, reaching every corner of the hall without him raising his voice. "Tonight we celebrate the strength of our borders. We celebrate the heroes who keep the darkness at bay." As he spoke, his eyes didn't sweep the room. They locked onto one specific point. They locked onto Elara. He wasn't speaking to the crowd. He was performing for her. It was a courtship dance displayed in front of the entire kingdom. He was saying, "I am the future king. Look at my power." I watched him. I analyzed him. Kaelen the warrior was a puppy seeking affection. Prince Valerius was a collector seeking a prize. He wanted Elara not just because she was powerful, but because she was the only thing in the kingdom he didn't already own. Perfect, I thought. He is obsessive. He won't take no as an answer. He will crush me to get to her. I leaned close to Elara's ear again. The crowd was applauding the prince's toast, masking my whisper. "Lady Everhart," I began, my voice low and reasonable. "Do you see? He ignores the dukes. He ignores the generals. He speaks only to you." Elara stared straight ahead, her face a mask of porcelain. She sipped her champagne. "He is the Crown Prince, the future king," I continued, pressing my advantage. "If you were by his side, imagine the influence. You could rewrite the magic laws. You could change the kingdom. He desires you, Elara. He is offering you the world on a silver platter." I waited for her to look at him, to blush, to consider the logic. Instead, she turned to me. Her movement was sharp, like a whip cracking. "Stop!" It wasn't a request. It was an order. I started to defend my logic. "I said stop, Aric," she hissed. Her voice was barely a whisper, but it carried the weight of a glacier. "Do not finish that sentence. Do not propose the prince to me." I froze. "But do you take me for a fool?" she asked, her violet eyes narrowing. "Do you think I don't see what you are doing? First the warrior, now the prince. You are trying to find a replacement. You are trying to hand me off to another man so you can slip into the night." My heart hammered against my ribs. She knew. I simply pointing out your options." "I have no options," she snapped, her composure cracking for a split second, revealing a flash of genuine anger. "I am a married woman. I made a vow. And frankly, the prince is a narcissist who loves his reflection more than he could ever love a woman. If I married him, I wouldn't be a partner. I would be a trophy on his shelf." She squeezed my arm again, her nails digging into the black fabric of my suit. "You are my husband. You are the burden I chose to parry.
So stop trying to sell me. It is insulting to my intelligence." She turned back to face the room, the mask of indifference sliding back into place. I stood there, stunned. A cold sweat broke out on the back of my neck. She is sharp, I realized with a jolt of fear. She is too sharp. The old Aric was an idiot. He wouldn't have schemed like this. He would have just drunk himself into a stupor and cried. By trying to be clever, by trying to manipulate her, I was revealing too much. If she figures out that I am strategizing, if she realizes that my personality has completely shifted, she won't just think I'm weird. She will investigate. She is a grand mage. She knows about possession. She knows about souls. If she discovers I am an intruder in her husband's body, she will kill me on the spot. I shut my mouth instantly. "Understood, my lady," I said, lowering my head. "Good," she said. "Now brace yourself. The wolf is coming." I looked up. The prince had stepped down from the dais. He was parting the crowd, walking in a straight line toward us. His smile was dazzling, but his eyes were cold. He wasn't coming to chat. He was coming to claim. And thanks to Elara's stubbornness, I was standing directly in his path.
Prince Valerius stopped 3 feet away from us. Up close, his charisma was weaponized. He smelled of rare spices and absolute power. He didn't look at me, not even a glance. In his world, I didn't exist. I was part of the background scenery, like a curtain or a potted plant. His golden eyes were fixed entirely on Elara. "Lady Elara," he said, his voice smooth as velvet. He took her hand and kissed the air above her knuckles, too intimate, too slow. "The stars themselves seem dim tonight in your presence. The North has kept you hidden for too long." Elara didn't pull her hand away. That would be an insult to the crown, but she didn't lean in. She stood like a statue of ice. "Your Highness," she replied, her tone perfectly polite and perfectly empty. "The North is cold, but it teaches one the value of clarity." Valerius smiled, ignoring the subtle rejection. "The ballroom is suffocating, isn't it? Too many eyes, too much noise." He stepped closer, invading her personal space. "The gardens are in full bloom tonight. I have had the frost lilies enchanted specifically for this evening. Walk with me, Elara. Let us discuss the future of the kingdom in private." It wasn't a question. It was a command wrapped in silk. He was offering her the position of mistress, or perhaps even queen if he could annul her marriage. I held my breath. This was it, the ultimate offer. Elara looked at the prince. Then she looked at the hand he was offering. "Your Highness honors me," she said clearly, loud enough for the nearby nobles to hear. "But I must decline." The prince's smile faltered. A dangerous glint appeared in his eyes. "Decline? I am here with my husband," Elara said, her hand tightening on my arm again. "We have been separated for war for many months. Tonight, my time belongs to him." The rejection landed like a slap. For the first time, Prince Valerius turned his head. He looked at me. It wasn't a look of anger. It was worse. It was a look of profound, confused disgust, as if he had stepped in something unpleasant and was trying to identify it. "Ah," Valerius said, "Lord Valorian, is it?" He said my name as if it were a joke he didn't find funny. "I didn't see you standing there." A lie.
He saw me. He just considered me irrelevant. I heard rumors you were indisposed. Permanently. He was referencing my drinking. He was mocking me in front of the entire court. The old Aric would have turned red. He would have stammered or cried or said something stupid. But I am the architect. I know how to play the game of survival. I bowed. It was a perfect bow. Precise, respectful, deeply humble, but devoid of fear. Your Highness, I said, my voice calm, reports of my demise were mathematically exaggerated. It is an honor to stand in your shadow. The prince blinked. He expected a fool. He got a diplomat. He looked back at Elara, searching for a weakness, a sign that she wanted to be saved. He saw nothing but a wall of violet ice. He realized he had lost. Making a scene now would only make him look desperate. Very well, Valerius said, his smile becoming tight and brittle. Enjoy your evening, Lord Valorian. Try not to trip over your own feet. He turned on his heel and walked away, his entourage scrambling to follow him. The crowd exhaled. The show was over. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. He hates me, I stated matter-of-factly. He despises you, Elara corrected, releasing my arm. He despises everyone he cannot control. We walked toward the carriage exit. The party was effectively over for us. We had made our appearance. We had insulted the prince. It was time to retreat. As we waited for the carriage in the cold night air, I looked at Elara. You refused the hero. You refused the prince. You refused to divorce me. She looked straight ahead, watching the horses approach. I know why you do it. I continued. You respect your grandfather's oath more than your own happiness. You are sacrificing your life for a ghost. She didn't answer. She didn't deny it. She just stepped into the carriage, sitting in the darkness. I climbed in after her. The door closed, sealing us in together. I looked at her profile in the shadows. She was strong, she was brilliant, she was stubborn, and she was my greatest problem. I couldn't manipulate her, I couldn't divorce her, and I couldn't fight her. So I would have to survive her. The architect had a new objective, not to escape the marriage, but to win the war that was coming. Because if the prince's look was any indication, the Valorian estate was about to be under siege again. And this time, I would need more than a pistol.